This meeting is being live streamed.
Yes, it's going to be on the KROSS BARZ YouTube.
Okay. All right.
By staying in this meeting, you can send. Oh, okay. It's YouTube. It's YouTube. So it's KROSS BARZ YouTube.
Hey, a little different.
Oh my
Let's go.
God.
All right, it's live. Let's go.
All right. I'm a little behind.
Nah, it's live, homegirl. Let's go. Let's go.
I have a delay.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you, but the pictures that I'm seeing on here is there's the live chat.
I got you. Hey Jay, you're live. You're hot. Let's go. Forget your delay.
Okay. All right. But
get back in the screen. You're out of the screen. You're out of the screen. Come on. Looking like some amateurs out here now.
Go. Go. Oh.
You're not in the screen, Jay. Look at the.
I don't.
You're not in the screen. I can't see you at all. I just see the logo. You have to move up, move something. I'm not sure what you did.
I didn't.
Did you hit the camera?
Okay, maybe we stop.
Yeah, you might need to stop.
Okay. Can you see me now?
No, ma'am.
All right. I'm gonna get off.
Okay, I see what you did.
So, oh Lord, we gotta be. Is it us?
Yep. There you go. All right. Let's count it down. 4, 3, 2.
There you go. Count it down.
All right. Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to KROSS BARZ, the podcast where we discuss interesting topics with alternative perspectives. I'm your co-host Big O, and I have with me.
Hey, J.Tanae is back in the building one more time, coming live from KROSS BARZ, y'all. I hope you're ready for a good time. We are ready to roll, Big O. Good to see you, man. You looking good with all the little black something.
Yeah.
I see you representing the age. I see you.
Listen, I don't know. See, I'm thinking about getting some Just For Me or something. No, not Just For Me. Just For Men. All right, Just For Me is the problem. Like, whoa, yeah, get to
you might need a little of that too. You got a little, might need to straighten them joints out.
It's a little bit, it's just a little bit. But I'm thinking about it, but nah, I've been all natural all my life. And I was like, I started thinking about doing some real wild stuff, Jay. Look,
like purple.
Watch this. You know how you can get those little glued on wigs, the wigs with the braids or the locks, or the Caesar or the curly top fro. I'm thinking about getting the cornrows back, like the glued on cornrows. Then I'm gonna get me one of those Spanx tee for men that got the 6-pack. Right? Get that one. Get the slick. So I'm gonna get the hair Spank tee for the men with the 6-pack showing. You know what I mean? Be licking my lips, going around, trying to act like I'm 30. Negative.
Don't go swimming. Don't go nowhere. It's hot. You have to take your shirt off.
I got all my light skin poses ready. When the lights hitting me now, I look kind of. I was like, "Oh, Chunk got a little light skin." People probably looking at me crazy, but yeah, I thought about that. I really did. And I was like, you know what? Nah, you need to just get, I'm thinking to myself, like, get your fat ass in shape. That's what you need to do. start walking more, get your exercise in, start lifting weights, for heavy reps and everything. So that's what I thought about, what I'm saying. But for the most part, I'm like, nah, I think I'm all right, but I need to get back because that's one of my pet peeves. Yeah, I need to get back. So, obviously people may know, it's just us, not any guests or anything, some hot topics that we wanted to discuss.
Right.
Wanted to talk about the Queen, the passing of the Queen.
Right.
Well, let's say the Queen of England, because you ain't our Queen.
Right.
Only Queen
Queen
I acknowledge over here is Aretha, Latifah, and Beyonce. That's the only queens over here that I recognize. You know what I mean?
Said Aretha, Latifah, Beyonce.
That's the only queens I'm recognizing. And I might throw Nicki Minaj in there, but Latifah's still there. So I'm like, we're gonna throw queens out there. So but besides that, talk a little bit about some of the things that's going on at in HBCUs. It's a hot topic.
Yes, absolutely.
I think some people are jumping on the bandwagon, but I also think that a serious discussion needs to be had. And then some other entertainment things in nature. But besides me, how are you doing, Jay?
I'm doing all right, man. Just working and trying to keep loving this podcast. You know what I mean? Like you saying, getting in shape. I'm trying to do that. I'm hitting that, half a century coming up. You know what I mean?
You that old?
What you mean that old? That's not old.
Just touch 40.
That's young. I don't look. I don't look like she's still cute. So I'm saying. But anyway, just trying to get back in shape. You know what I mean? Not just to do it, but to be healthy. You know what I mean? I've been to a lot of seminars and stuff lately, and they're talking about wills and trust and who you gonna leave your stuff to. And I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta make sure I'm in, because you can rebuke that family history stuff or like diabetes and all that stuff, man. It's just about eating healthy, trying to get yourself right, having some discipline, which I lack and I know I gotta work on. But I gotta do what I gotta do. So, just working on some other things behind the scenes. I said this year was gonna be my year to finish the things I started that I didn't finish. So I'm still in school. So I did go back to school, y'all. So I'm doing that too. And I'm at the same time working, doing all that. So just trying to, finish the things I started. That's my next goal within the next year is to finish what I started. Hey, and also guys, if you're listening, YouTube, I put the link on my Facebook page. So if people go to Jamila North Star Brown, I've also put the link to what we're doing now live on the YouTube page. So you guys can tune in, or if you can't click in or you're on my Facebook, just click it and come on over to what we got to do here. Say we're live on YouTube. So hopefully we'll have some people.
I don't even know how to do. I don't know how to do this stuff. I'm up here looking like how you put something up there.
We gonna give you time to get it together, for the special people.
It's all good. All right.
Yeah.
So let's jump into it. Let's
get into it.
The Queen has lived 96 long and prosperous years.
Absolutely.
In these 96 years, she has expanded her empire, has actually cultivated relationships where people look at her as a symbol of grace, elegance, and racism.
You didn't.
Hey, it is what it is. During her reign, she's seen things from World War II, some conflicts, the increase of terrorism throughout Europe and Asia. I think, when you look at the totality of her legacy, she's the longest reigning English monarch. Some people say the longest reigning monarch. I'm not sure because I did not do any research on it, so I don't want to speak or anything like that. But let's just really break down some of the things that, from my perspective, her monarchy was really a figurehead, but it was just like, okay, they have accumulated so much wealth from other nations that it's almost obscene to look at. I said the only thing
That's crazy.
you can compare
ridiculous
to their, reign and their wealth would be the Catholic Church. It's the only thing. There's nothing that's compared to the Catholic Church, like the money that they've seen. And if you don't understand, just go.
What do you do?
Yeah, just go to the local places, look at the cathedrals, and think about how much money they cost.
Yeah,
but there's one everywhere. Yeah.
It's a keep upkeep. Yeah.
So it's go ahead.
And she's been in since 1952. So from 1952, February 6, 1952. So she reigned 70 years and 214 days. I'm sorry. You got me?
Okay. Yeah.
There you go. There we go. Yeah. So 70 years, her reign was 70 years and 214 days. It says the second longest recorded monarch. So you're right. It says the second longest recorded. She was, my grandma's 97, so, and she's not a queen, but she's still kicking it too. But go ahead.
She ain't a queen to you?
Oh, she's a queen of our family, absolutely. Shout out to Grandma Shelton. Go ahead, Grandma.
All right. But we've seen that over the years, she's very, her demeanor is pretty much laid back because of how people are supposed to approach her. But I think some things that were very controversial in her latter years was the handling or the management of the death of Princess Diana.
Yeah,
that was pretty huge, and
it was a whole lot of
people have speculated that Princess Diana was murdered. And it was like, for me, it was like, well, what was the presumption of her being murdered? And some people were saying that because of who Princess Diana,
who she was,
not who she was, but who she was about to, or who she was engaged to be married to.
Right.
So it was like, this is.
She was kind of a rebel. She was like, I'll do the princess stuff. I want to be me. They didn't want her to wear pants or certain things, and she did anyway, and would roll around with them, and she didn't like that. But it's a whole. Did you see that documentary about that whole relationship with Princess Diana and all this stuff and behind the scenes and all that?
I've seen one of them, but I don't know which one I've seen because there's so many. One of the ones where I looked at where she was conforming to do all these things, how I look from my perspective. She was conforming, so she knew what she was getting into. She was like, it's almost like to me, it's almost like a beauty contestant getting into a beauty contest and then complaining that they have to do the swimsuit portion. It's like, you signed up for this. You know what comes with this. Don't get it and say, I don't like that part. Like, no, you don't got to sign up. Nobody asked. And that's the part where I looked at. They weren't saying it in the documentary I was watching. However, it was like, I don't like that. And I was like, well, why did you subscribe to it? You knew.
You knew this dude was that. You knew it was gonna be something.
Yeah, you knew what it was or whatever. And basically, at that level, they, matched Charles up. Prince Charles was getting matched up to be, being groomed, saying, okay, you're gonna marry this woman because she comes from this family, and this family, has this, so she would be a good asset to our family per se. And for me to look at it, and I was like, yeah, I see what you're saying. You shouldn't have to do certain things that they're asking you to do. You shouldn't have to, always look to the queen and get her approval for everything. You could be your own person. Yeah, you could be your own person.
Facts. Yeah.
But you knew
a lot of cultures do that. You have to go through the parents. You know what I mean? Like even with with some of the Indian arrangements, like arranged marriages, you have to look for the parents before you can marry somebody. Like they hook you up, you really don't have a choice. It's a little bit different, but it's still I'm glad I didn't have to have someone to answer every question. Guidance is great, but not, don't tell me what to do. I don't know. But you in the princess model, you have to, but I'm glad we don't have that.
Okay.
I'm glad I would rather not. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, but I would rather not have.
But you
Like,
know, they say statistically that when you are have an arranged marriage, those marriages tend to last longer than the ones that are chosen by the actual people.
yeah, I say that too. They say you learn to love each other. You find out the person, yeah, but they're miserable the whole time.
I don't
They
think
have
so.
children. It's about wealth.
It's about culture, and also
Yeah,
it's
culture too.
more about, okay, this is our roles, and we have defined roles coming into it, because many times, you know, I love her, I love him, and then you just
Right,
say we're gonna work it out and we're gonna figure it out.
right,
But you know, to some people, divorce is an option, you know, whereas in others, like, yo,
for
we're gonna have to
sure.
figure out divorce is not an option. And whatever we go through, you know, we got to go through
Got to figure
together.
it out.
You got to figure it
But
out.
can't you just do that anyway? If you just agree that that's what you want, if that's what you two decide on.
No, because think about it. You grow, you mature. Some people grow apart. Some people grow towards one another. You know, they have a commonality, you know, things that are super huge that you don't realize when you're younger. Religion may not be
True.
very
Religion,
large
yeah.
in your youth, but as you get older, it becomes huge. You know,
Mm,
you
mm,
know, some people look at monetary things, and someone could lose their job.
yeah.
You know, it's like, okay, this person was making a lot of money and providing. Now the roles change, and now your perspective sometimes, maybe not your perspective, but your image of the person may diminish, because you're like, well, they're not really the provider. They ain't making as much money, or
Yeah.
they're not as
Nah.
attractive, you know, and
It
all of
happens.
these things play a
It
part.
happens.
Now, watch this. Somebody can start making money and then look and say, I want to upgrade.
Well, they can upgrade you if they make money. You know what I'm saying? They can,
Uh,
hey, babe,
uh,
let's go to this snack. Come on.
uh,
I'll pull you on
uh,
up when we go up. Come on up with me.
but listen, everybody want to be supported, but no one really wants to be a supporter. You know, so when you start looking at some of the things and accomplishments that you want to do, the people that's there for you most of the time would be your immediate family. And what I say immediate, because you may have family members, but they're not going to support you. They're going to
Oh, for
support
sure.
you. They're going to support you when you blow up, and
Periodically.
then when you
Oh,
got
yeah.
no, when
That's
you
my
got,
cousin.
yeah, that's my
I
cousin,
knew
this and
they was
that.
going to do it. I knew they were going to
Hmm.
make it.
Yeah, yeah.
I knew Cross
This,
Bars was going to be hot, but they ain't watched nothing but one episode.
hey, well, yeah, they just watch it at the end when everybody else jumped on. So it's like, you know, and you start seeing that. And then, you know, when you get there, you got to act like, yeah, I know you was always there, but it's like, nah, you don't really have too many supporters, but the ones that you have to really cherish, you know.
Right.
So it's a lot of things, but let's not deviate too far
Yeah,
off
I
our
know I
topic.
went to the right. I went to the right, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
to
So
the
now
yeah.
we got the queen, and now like a lot of not a lot, but some of the countries that, you know, she had relationships with, like maybe United States, sometimes they were contentious. I could say the last president wasn't really welcomed over there as heartedly, and he
Mm-hmm.
acted like a bull in the china shop, like, you know. And that's the part, like, don't get me wrong, that's the part that I respected of the last president, you know,
I'll be there
the
anyway. See you in the
redheaded.
morning.
Yeah, yeah. So that he would come over there like, look, I ain't bowing to you like that. I ain't, you know, you ain't all that. I'm a president. I'm more powerful than you. And what? And he came in there like with that attitude. I was like, wow, that's so
Right.
American. You know, like, yeah, traditionally, you know, we
Yeah.
make
Those
sure
rude
we
Americans.
agree. And it's
He
like
didn't
she
even.
didn't like him, and it's like he's arrogant, and it's like, how does an arrogant person call another person arrogant? You know, it's like, yeah, he's full of himself, as you probably full of yourself. So that was
Back.
one thing I looked at. I saw that you know, with the Meghan Markle situation, I kind of
That.
gave him a side eye, because I was like, oh, we got a problem with black people. And the media here and in England kind of try to brush that away. And I was like,
Mm-mm.
I
Oh
seen that.
no.
I seen that. It's like, yeah, we're gonna give her a different name. I don't know, you know, and it's like, okay, we have no problem. You know, no one is really addressing some of the things that's going on. But Yeah, she was a divorcee.
Mm-hmm.
She was from America. She
Yep.
was from another
She was
place.
biracial.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it was a lot of things that contribute
Yeah.
to her upbringing, but she fell in love with this prince, and they got married. I respect Harry, saying, look, forget the family, it's just me and her.
Right.
And they didn't feel as
They
welcome.
kind of right. They kind of gave him a little bit,
Yeah, that's basically
really?
like, look, you may not be as
Right.
welcome, and they like, well, if we not, we know
Right.
some places that will welcome us, and technically, he's American citizen. Nobody's talking about that.
He's American. He's an
He's
American.
How do you become an American citizen? Birth, marriage, or legalization.
Oh.
Yeah. So technically, yeah, he's an American citizen. He married an American citizen, and his child that he has is American.
Now, yes. Ah,
Nobody's
and I
talking
want to
about
know
that. Look,
that.
look, look, look.
Oh.
I see politics in that baby's future. I see politics.
Hey, they could conquer a lot of lines right there. If she or
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. Some people may not be, thinking that way, but I'm like, They really, got some things going on.
how do you
Also,
do that? I wonder how she got her. I don't know the backstory of the whole thing. Like, how did she get herself in the position to meet the prince to get
I don't
that
even
eye? You know what I mean? Like, how do you,
at that
how do
level.
you even get in the square of that? I mean, she was into acting and things like that. Like, how do you get that there?
Well, she
It's
was
like me, like,
what
yeah, I'll see.
she was in what the game show. She was in Deal or No Deal with Howie Mandel. When
Yeah.
that show came out, she was one of the girls that was by the bolos. Well, pause. But she was the one that was like, all right, we're gonna be this, thing. And then when they was dropping the balls in that one little show, I think she was in that one. And then the most notable one was she was able to land a role in the miniseries Suits. So people
Mm.
knew her,
Mm-hmm.
in the
Mm-hmm.
role in Suits. And so at that level, I think it's, oh, I like her. Send my publicist is going to send your publicist your information saying that I'm
Yeah.
interested.
That's big.
Can we do that? And I was like, that's basically a high level game of elementary. Whereas I'm gonna send my friend over to your friend, and the
To
friend's
tell
gonna
your friend.
talk. Yeah, and then yeah. It's just high
Then
level
check
of
the box
elementary.
and bring it back
Yeah,
to me and tell me
yeah.
what they
Like,
said.
yeah, J.Tanae said she like you. They be like, she said, you want to check this box? I check this box. You like sitting there acting like you don't know. Look over there, check that box, give it back, and you go back. I think they just doing that on a high level. Like, yeah, that's what they doing.
That's
It ain't no
funny.
problem. It's all good. But let's move on, because just being
Okay.
honest, I
All
don't
right.
know if, like, to me, she passed a monarch, sad to see it
Yeah.
go. But when you look at the history of the nation and some of the things that,
Mm-hmm.
her family, not just her, but her family was a part of, it's a little shady. But what family or monarchy didn't have that? So I don't want to just single her out, and
Right.
nor I think it's a time for me to try to bash anyone in during a time of death or mourning.
I have no room for that. Hey, I watched Bridgerton enough, and you watch Bridgerton?
No,
Gosh, you don't watch Bridgerton.
no. I just heard that dude ask for money, and they changed the whole direction of the show. I heard dude was like, I'm pretty famous. I want 20 million. Like,
That I like Bridgerton. It really gives
really?
you a little, I like because it's multicultural. It's just not just because when you should consider Queen, you think, oh, just white. But this, you had some Indian people in there, you had some black people in there, you had some mixed people in there, you had some white people. I liked it because it did put different, cultures and colors, in it when they were talking about it. And they were, people of high prestige and come from the lands to marry the prince and all this stuff. But yeah, I'm a Bridgerton fan, so shout out to you, Bridgerton. All right. So we're gonna move right along. Rest in peace to the Queen, to the royal family, all of that good stuff. So let's move right along, and now we're gonna bring it on into HBCUs, which I always wished I graduated from an HBCU. Wanted to go to Howard University. I always did. Had the application, and then me and my best friend, we decided, we're gonna go to. Her dad was like, "Look, if I'm gonna get you a car, if you stay in West Virginia and go, we'll get you a car." She's like, "Okay, I'm gonna stay." So we end up being roommates in Marshall, and she never got the car initially. She got it now though, but she never had the car. She never got the car. But anyway, it was a great experience. But I do want to talk about HBCUs because they do have National HBCU Week coming up. September 22 to 23rd. There's a whole big thing provided by the U.S. Department of Education talking about HBCUs. But 2022 National HBCU Week. If I could say the topic from the Department of Education is the White House initiative on advancing educational equity, excellence, and economic opportunity through historically black colleges and universities, HBCUs, to those who do not understand what that means. All right. Oh, first-hand perspective from you, bro. I mean, what's your I almost went there too. I actually went and towards that and still didn't go, but yeah.
Okay.
North Carolina A&T.
As a proud graduate of North Carolina A&T State University, I would like to say shout out to all the Aggies, shout out to all the HBCU alumni and the current students there. Now, with that being said, I think that so many times, we have a mindset of, yes, we need to galvanize and show pride in our HBCUs, but something that we do not do, that PWI, and when I say the word PWI, I mean predominantly white institutions or colleges, we do not give back like these other institutions do. So
say that, bars.
So when we kind of complain about other universities and colleges doing certain things, we got to look in the mirror first. However, each state government has a certain amount of money that's budgeted to these colleges and universities. And for so long and so often that the HBCUs were neglected, we did not get our fair share of government funding. Now, some HBCUs may have received more than others, but for the most part, if you attended an HBCU, you knew automatically it was almost like a badge of honor of going to whatever financial building to get your financial situation straight as far as your tuition and your financial aid straight. It was a struggle. It was a huge struggle. And I had an issue where in different colleges, where if you perform academically, people will reach out to you and you may be eligible for certain scholarships. Where HBCUs, it seemed like they were really pushing the envelope of getting a loan, because many colleges, if not all, I don't want to say all, but many colleges, they like, we get money for pushing these loans. And they were pushing loans to people who were definitely eligible for scholarships at many of these HBCUs. And that's where I look and say, you know what, we still have a chance to separate ourselves and get to a better level and a higher plateau as visibility because of the pandemic. Because during the pandemic, it made everyone even. So, for instance, if you went to a PWI, the first thing you would notice is that the buildings and the facilities were totally different. So I'm going to give an example, because me and my family, we, that's one of the things during the summertime, we're able to travel, and that's our big thing. And we go to different colleges just to expose our children to different campuses. So this past summer, we went to Nashville, Tennessee. So Nashville, Tennessee is home of Fisk University, also Vanderbilt University, as well as Tennessee State University.
I got to accept for the East Tennessee State, though. It's not HBCU.
Correct. And look. Now you have some other colleges, but Harry, you have other colleges that are there. But when you go to, let's just say, one HBCU to the next, if you go to Fisk and you look around and then you see those housing projects right there across the street from their financial building, and you see the housing projects, which they're not bad, but still a housing project. So it has all the elements of a housing project. Let me just say that. And you look and you say, okay. You go a few miles down and you go to Tennessee State and you see their facility. You say, wait a minute, a little different.
Right.
A little bit better.
Right.
And then you go a few miles, downtown, and then you go to Vanderbilt University and you see the hospital as well as their campus and some of the things. You say, whoa, totally different.
Right.
The vibe and everything is different. So sometimes, you ask a question, as my children ask me, like, Dad, they buildings look ran down and things. And I said, for so long,
say that,
when you were building these buildings, let's say in the 50s, 60s, 70s, the government was giving them the lion's share of money. Now, if you don't receive that much money, you can't do but so much and not a lot of repairs. But during the late 80s and 90s, many of the HBCUs saw a big surge because most of the HBCUs, if not all, number one was they were a educational university because you had to educate because we were so far behind. That's why right after slavery, we actually decreased the illiteracy rate in the Black community. Well, I don't want to say Black community, but Black people overall, because we were trying to form communities and drop the illiteracy among Black people in such a tremendous way that people got like nervous. So we actually really was, going for like getting educated. And that's, the beginning of the 19th century, beginning of the 20th century, at the end of the 19th century. So now when you start looking at HBCUs historically, education, but it was agricultural and technology. Now, during the 90s, we had a technological revolution where the internet, more things that advanced, like, things like the phone, as cell phones, beepers, things that more computers, more technological innovations were happening. So these schools, technical schools, became the forerunners more than liberal arts schools. So many of these HBCUs that were technical schools start rising to the top. And I'm like, okay, cool. But let's start separating ourselves, because the experience at a North Carolina A&T and an experience at a school that's very close by to North Carolina A&T, University of North Carolina at Greensboro. There are two different distinct experiences there, as well as the college that is less than a half a mile from North Carolina A&T, which is Bennett College, an all black female college, so it's like, and if you go to each school, you'll have a different, distinct, experience. However, you can see where money has been allocated. You say, well, wait a minute, how is this school getting so much more where this school is not as big or prestigious, but they're not getting much, and then they're not giving them hardly anything. Now, let me make this caveat. Private schools do not get as much from the government because they are private. I'm talking mainly about state schools that are endorsed by the state. Okay. So I have to say that, because don't say, like, for instance, some people say Howard, and I say, whoa, Howard's private.
That's a university, right?
Howard's private.
Good point.
So
let me interject really quick. But West Virginia State University, they've been getting a lot of land grants, so you can see things, popping up around. And the new president that came in, I was actually watching when they were, doing their, which I didn't know how that happened, how you got a new president, but there was like a debate. So, people come in and you get a period of time to say, I'm going to be the president and this is why you should pick me. And they were like, female, male. And it was really cool actually watching the process of how you choose a different president, for the school. I had never seen that before. But anyway, with Virginia State University, they have a lot of land grants. So now they can expand they have an economic development center now that the community can come into. More people can, outside people can use it for their business to do sessions or, different type of meetings and trainings and things like that. And I wanted to touch back real quick when you were talking about the differences and what you saw from this one to this one to that one. I just took one of my students, to Simmons College of Kentucky. It's the only HBCU in Louisville. But when we went there, they gave me the address, and I'm looking for Simmons College of Kentucky, and I see Spalding. I'm like, I see Spalding. This is Spalding University. But what happened was Simmons College of Kentucky is super small, but they are rebuilding their dorms, so they don't have dorms. So Spalding University has paired with Simmons College of Kentucky and allowed them to use their dorms, and the students are allowed to use their facilities until their brand new facilities and dorms and things are being born. So when I walked in, on to the right, you had all of the people who worked at HBCU with the shirts on saying that college, and then to the left, you would see, but it was Black students and white students. And so when I was walking in, you'd see some white people like, how are these Black people on this floor? You know what I mean? That were from Spalding, and all the Black people were like, hey, we're here, but I'd never seen that before. I mean, it's a good, I see why they probably have the partnership, but they didn't have any dorms. So those students are living at that dorm, and they get to use their facilities, some of the facilities. Yes.
Excuse me, ma'am. Look,
yes.
Excuse me. I do not know all the business of Simmons or Spalding Universities, cohorts. However, I know in business, let's say construction, they used to do that technique all the time. They would actually have allotments from the government set aside for minority contractors and businesses. And what large white companies would do was they would seek out a small Black or minority business, partner with them so they can get the contract from the state government that's allotted for these businesses. So these Black and minority businesses would never be able to bid on these businesses on their own, because they would never grow, because they only receive a portion of the money. So these large conglomerates will always be huge and large. And then they got real cute and just said, all right, I'm gonna just put my wife on the deed of my company. And then they became minority contract. And he's like, well, how are they minority? It was like, oh, it's a woman owner. It was like, wait a minute. Wow. So I'm using this analogy and this comparison because when you look at it, that's what it seemed. But I do not know the business, so I'm not going to just automatically say that's what's going on. But that's what happens a lot of times where these other companies say, yeah, I want this one because they get these grants. I will be eligible for these other grants, so I'm allowed them to use my facility or be on near my campus, and then I can get these other allotments. So just imagine.
I hear you.
You have this, and it's like, oh, let's grab them, because for so often, many of these HBCUs, especially the prominent ones, have often been tried to merge with a PWI. So for so often, I remember UNC Greensboro and A&T, they were like, yo, they should merge them and make it one large school. And it was like, I was one of the students like, no, I'm not with that. That's not good, because I could see them gobbling us up. But that was a talk, and then some of these other institutions need these HBCUs because they just use them as, like, I would say, as a mascot. So if you go down to Florida, in Florida A&M, many people may not know this, Florida State and Florida M is basically separated by a railroad track. So if you are an athlete getting recruited to Florida State, know this personally because people I know, some good friends, they actually toured Florida A&M's campus. And so they said, listen, I know you're going to Florida State is a PWI. We got all of these facilities. You're going to play on national TV, a part of the ACC conference, all of that. But let me take you to a Florida A&M party. Let me show you over here. And so now they like, oh man, this is great. A few years ago,
I hear you.
Let me put this one, because many people don't know about this program. In North Carolina, they had a program. I don't know the name. Please go research and look it up. They have a program where at Duke University, you can go and enroll at Duke University, but for 2 years, almost like a foreign exchange student. For 2 years or a year. I don't know if it's 2, but I know definitely it is a year. You can go to a HBCU and have an HBCU experience, meaning take classes there and live there and everything, and then come back to Duke. And at the end of your 4 years, you will have a Duke University degree. But you actually go to HBCU. So what some students were doing, and some parents that really liked the idea, they sent their child to North Carolina Central, which is also in Durham, North Carolina. Sent them to UNC, North Carolina Central University, and they were on a campus and had campus life and everything. However, they were able to take classes at Duke as well and graduate from Duke University. So they got the experience of being at Duke University as well as North Carolina Central, which is an HBCU. Gotcha. So I was like on a fence because I didn't know how to feel, because I said, man, that's super awesome. But I also could see that will hurt the HBCUs more than it helps them.
Because the completion rate, it will affect that, because your graduation rate. Yeah.
No, not the graduation.
If they're graduated from Duke, then they're not graduating from this school.
But think about it. They never enrolled really at there. So for instance, when you are in North Carolina, I'm going to speak of North Carolina because that's the one I know the best. They have a consortium of all colleges and universities that are accredited. So if you take a college class at Central Piedmont, right? Take an English class, and then you transfer to, let's say, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. Those credits matriculate to University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. And if you said, okay, I took a couple of classes here, but now I'm going to transfer to North Carolina A&T, it will matriculate there as well. So because they are part of the consortium, you will take classes over there still enrolled at Duke, and they will matriculate back to Duke. Yeah. So now all of this is going on, and I'm sitting back like, at first I said, man, because my friend told me about this situation. I said, whoa, I could see the problem in that, because the person is still enrolled. So for instance, I'm gonna give you an example in the crazy way, because it's a good thing, because that's how I met my wife. In high school, I took Latin. Look, I took Latin all through high school, right? I just needed to write better. Latin. And I used to actually write everything in Latin. I can't do it anymore, but it's funny. But I used to write everything in Latin and then translate my paper back to English, so I know that my structure was grammatically correct. So it's a lot of work, but I used to be horrible, right? Yeah. So because Latin is a dead language, it's not really spoken, it's written. So when I get to college, my college, North Carolina A&T, did not offer, at the time I went, did not offer Latin. Did not offer it. So when I had to take a foreign language, I'm sitting there like, okay. So I took Spanish, but most of the people in my class, they had Spanish 3, 4, and 5 in high school.
Yeah, me too.
So they know way the basics. So I'm sitting there as a real new person coming to that class.
Learning root endings.
Correct. That's an A. That's a feminine. I'm like, oh damn. And everybody in there like, yeah, this is my like I did this in high school. I'm sitting there looking like, oh, this is messed up for me. And my roommate, he took German in high school. So he took German. Because they did not offer German at North Carolina A&T at that time. We were in college. He was able to go to University of North Carolina, Greensboro, which is up the road like a mile, 2 miles away. He went to University of North Carolina, Greensboro, took German there, and he was able to do it because he had years of German. I could have did the same thing, but I didn't know. I could have even went to Bennett, because Bennett offered Latin.
And gotcha.
You see what I'm saying?
But did you have a scholarship? You didn't have. You just chose to go. Did you have a scholarship to go to?
It was yes and no.
You just
okay. No, I did not.
I thought that maybe that made the difference of why you didn't choose the other.
Oh no.
Yeah.
My reasoning, and it wasn't smart, was I wanted to get as far away from New Jersey as possible. And I was just through yo, some things. I was like, man, I just want to get away. And North Carolina A&T was the furthest and most affordable school that I could go to. So I was an athlete. So if I didn't play football, I could still go to school, because certain schools that I got into, I knew that if I did not play football, I would have to drop out. Like there's no way I could have paid that.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, I'm real good. I'm elite athlete. I'm going to go there, and I'm bigger schools. I was looking at smaller school. I can go there and walk on and get a scholarship by the next year. Not so. However, I received the Exxon engineering scholarship because basically my financial aid wasn't right. It was in the Dudley building. Met some of my best friends still to this day. So went there, and I'm about to leave, and they were like, look, you're gonna have to go home, come back in January. I'm like, I ain't going back here. It's all good. Deuces, love your campus. I wish I could stay, but it's cool. So
ain't do it.
At the time, God rest him dead, Dr. McIntyre was like, all right. Then he just writing paperwork, basically, you getting up out of here, grab your bags, whatever, go wherever you go. And he was like, oh, what school are you going to? Since you said you're not going to this school, you're going to us. I said, oh, I'm going to school right up the road. We passed it coming down here from New Jersey. I'm going to Chapel Hill. We passed by that school. We passed by Durham area, Raleigh, coming down from Jersey 85, and Greensboro's further. And I figure if I come to Greensboro, if we can't get this, anything settled here, then I'm going to just go to that school. And he got a look, and I said, oh, I just reached in my bag. I said, yeah, here go my room assignment, my dorm papers. And he looked at it, was like, Braintree Hall, that's it. And he's looking at me like, and I'm looking like, yo, that's the plan. I got into all the schools,
right?
But then I was like, yo, fam, I got into over 30 something schools. This is me.
Choose.
Yeah. But my fallback was Rutgers. Rutgers, I got a full ride.
I went to Rutgers for a little bit.
And that's what I still support Rutgers to this day.
I love Rutgers. I had a great experience at Rutgers.
And I always say this, had Rutgers not been in New Jersey, I would have went to Rutgers. If it was in Delaware, if it was in Pennsylvania, if it was in, North Carolina, Virginia, I would have went to Rutgers. But it was in New Jersey, and it was not too far from my home. I mean, super close to our life. So I'm like, I just can't go there because I need to leave. So, and I always thank them, I had a full, academic scholarship. So I'm going down to A&T. They look, they see that. They see what's going. Dr. Mack looked, and basically I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go to Chapel Hill, and hopefully they, get something right. And if not, I'll go back home to, Rutgers. They start in September now. This is all into August. I'm like, I go to Rutgers. I still got my placement there. And he went, talked to somebody else, came back and said, look, I can give you a partial. If I was in state, it would have been a full ride. Because out of state is double, it was a partial. So I didn't pay too much because of my first 2 years, but I got in a little trouble, got in some incidents on campus.
We won't air that business. We'll keep that in the school blotter.
I was a straight idiot. You know what I mean? Straight idiot. And I always tell people, if you had more fun than me, in college, you didn't make it. You had more fun than me. You didn't graduate.
Hey, so, and speaking of that, what about your relationships? Because when you think HBCUs, a lot of people see the positive of it, but they see the negative of it. Because I would hear this, honestly. You're going to go, it's just competition of a big fashion show, and the Black people going to be in, the people are catty, and you're going to have this, and that. I mean, you have that at every school. But that was a negative kind of tone that was kind of, what buzzed around about, HBCUs, about it being focused on materialism, what you look like, what you did, what you that. I don't know. I didn't go there, but that was kind of brought up. What is your take on that? Because I never went. Was that there? When it was kind of like your school days, back in the day.
I can look at it in two perspectives. The first perspective, I can tell you my mindset of a 19, 20-year-old perspective of now older person looking back on it. You know, you have materialism in all colleges. You have that same thing in all colleges. Look what you wear, what you drive, who your family is. You know, all these relationships, they matter. Now at an HBCU, yeah, you did have it because it's not just because it was an HBCU, but it was a large portion of Black students there. So whatever issue that a Black community has, they're bringing to their university.
Great point.
So if you go to
I think I will make you a teacher.
So if you go to a Black community, yeah, they're gonna have the latest fashions and things because people have self-esteem issues, you know, inherently, and they're gonna, you know, dial themselves up on the outside, and they so happen to go to HBCU because you would probably have the same mentality if you went to a PWI, but you came from a Black community. So you got to have the, you know, the nicest Jordans on walking on NC State's campus or ECU's campus.
I hear you.
You know, but when you're at an HBCU, you get called out for like, oh, you gotta all have Jordans. You're like, look at that. Yeah, they got some, you know, what is it? $150 Brooks. You know, some people don't know what Brooks running shoes are.
Oh, I know what Brooks are.
Look, because you're older, but when you're younger, you might not look. You say, man, look at them busted bubbles, like
corny shoes.
Yeah, look, them shoes cost $160. Like them ain't no. So, you know, it just depends on the caveat, and that's an older person thinking. Now, younger, I saw people segment themselves according to cliques. It was little cliques. So you did have the Greek organizations that kind of clicked up. People who wanted to be a part of those Greek organizations as well, you know, start choosing. And some people, you know, didn't care. Some people say, all right, I'm gonna just be like athlete. I'm gonna be little artsy people. And then it was just regular cool people that was in between, like, that ain't my thing, that ain't my thing. And you could just be. So it had something for everyone. You know, so if you were a nerd, super nerd, geek or something, you could.
There were some of those too.
You had them. You had somebody who was, look.
Right. You found a tribe. You found a tribe. I think I know that tribe.
So you had a tribe. So you were like, oh, there we go. And then you had people who were able to go between tribes, which was awesome.
That was the cool part.
Yeah, so you can go between tribes and you can grow from tribes because you can start off and been in the little lounge smokers tribe,
and then you
could have graduated to the nerd tribe by your senior year and seen your progression. So that was the awesome part. And also,
you might have been in the tribe by yourself because they was all gone.
True. That is true.
During your graduation year, you're like, where's my tribe? They left me.
But the other,
I was in that tribe too.
But the other portion of it was that when you look at these different tribes per se, and you could graduate from the tribe, it was awesome. So now you can see your growth. And you can look back and say, this is how I came in as a freshman. And then I came out this finished product. Whereas, you know, you had a sense of community, which was, that was probably the part where I really enjoyed the most, where let's say we played a different team, or let's say we went to a different area. So for instance, some people may not know this, you go to a Freaknik in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, went there too. That's my tribe too.
Okay.
So, it wasn't no cameras back then. So I think I was saved.
It was a camera. We got footage. We got footage.
Listen,
we got footage.
I was making when it came on
Big
Netflix.
Big Rick. We got footage. We got the footage.
When it came on Netflix and they had the Freaknik, I was like, oh Lord, don't let me be in nobody's recall.
Oh, we got the footage. Oh yeah. Like mad jokes. But the reason I bring that up is because, you know, a lot of different colleges were down in Atlanta, Georgia during the 90s at that time. Yeah. Now think about this. You know, you see your fellow HBCU Aggies, you know, you link up and it's like, what's up? And they tell you what to do, whatever. It's almost like having a cousin in town. Like, look, don't go over here. They look, them over there. They're my people.
Yeah.
So that's the other part, whereas then PWIs is like, nah. You know, I went to NC State. I'm only messing with people from NC State.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. Let me tell you about you call it PWI. course, I graduated from Marshall University, but let me tell you, our Black culture on that campus is still tight to this day. I'm
That's not
still
what.
friends. But
That's
listen,
not.
I'm talking about, listen, even if you go to somewhere else, I mean, let me say what I'm going to say too. Hold on one moment, sir.
But you're misinterpreting me.
I'm not. You said if you go, okay, what did you say? You said if you
go to a PWI, you may not have the same camaraderie as HBCU. So for instance, when you went to Marshall, when you go to other places, you're not gonna say, "Oh, they went to Marshall," and now you're down in Georgia. Georgia Southern people ain't gonna say, "Oh, they from Marshall, they from a PWI. Let's look out for them." They're not doing that at PWIs. However, at HBCUs, I went to A&T. If I'm on in Atlanta, and I see some people from Morehouse or Spelman or Clark, Atlanta, they be like, "Oh, they went to HBCU." We have a different camaraderie still to this day. When you at your jobs, "Oh, which one you went?" "I went to Jackson State." "Where'd you go?" "Oh, I went to Fisk." "Which one you went to?" "Oh, I went to Johnson C. Smith." And then you will have that camaraderie. That's what I'm saying.
I got you. I got it on that. But still, we did visit places, so we established relationships still. It might not have been the whole community. So we made it a point, like when we traveled, let's go to, this, Black college or whatever. We want to see them because, as far as the Greek life and all of that too. So you wanted to see that. So since we didn't have a lot of it in the area, besides West Virginia State University, Bluefield State, you know what I mean? That was it. We would go to Kentucky or Ohio or to HBCU. Bowling Green, we had some people from Bowling Green, not necessarily HBCU, but we still established relationships. So we might not have been like, "Oh, you're such and such a state." We'd be like, "Hey, I still remember you from Marshall," just because we visited or just because we had a relationship. But the Greek life did play a part in that. Let me finish. A Greek life did play a part of that. But listen, a lot of the guys and females who did go to Marshall, because I'm speaking that, because that's where I went to, are really, really tight. And some of their children are now at HBCUs and going to HBCUs and things like that. So, it's even though we didn't have the community, like you're saying, our, African American Student Union, they made sure they try to bring those things to us. Amir Baraka comes down and speakers come in because we lacked it. They made sure that we had that. So I can say that for Marshall, that it didn't feel so white, even though it was, because we were tight, as just a community and the culture. Even though I'm gonna go over here and go to Delta Zeta's frat party, and I'm gonna go to Delta Sigma Theta's party too. So, you're talking about moving around and meeting people. We also expanded that way too. So you got, not just the Black side, but you got the white side, the Greek side, this side, the Italian side, all of that too. So, but that was an experience, within itself. Yes, sir.
So you spoke of something that I've seen at my school, and it was pretty cool to see. So I would see some of the Deltas from Wake Forest come over to our campus and mingle and have, a social, or start building a camaraderie between one another. I've seen UNC Chapel Hill AKAs come to North Carolina A&T and build a camaraderie with the AKAs on campus. So I did see that, which I thought was super awesome, where I was like, man, that's pretty cool. Whereas, fraternities, they built a camaraderie whooping each other ass. It's like, yo, we got the Omegas from UNC Greensboro come over here and beat the asses and the pledgees and stuff. And it's like, damn, all right, you get beat up from people from different colleges. All right, cool.
Yeah.
However, what you're speaking of is that portion of it, and I understand it. But I want to talk about something that happened at PWIs that I did not have experience in, but I was I'm very interested in your perspective. How do you guys feel about African-American students or Black students actually joining a PWI fraternity and sorority versus a historically Black Greek organization?
Well, I think to me, it's just weird, because even though I didn't go, it's just my culture. I've always known it. Even if they did, it was more educational. You know what I mean? Like the scholar, Chi Omega or 5 8, I'm just making up stuff. But yeah, it was a scholarly thing more so than, the actual Greek organization. We had the flip side of that though, where we'd had some of the, the white people,
absolutely.
Join.
Shout out to the white capo. Shout out to Roy. I was like, whoa,
and then we had our social organizations that weren't Greek at all, which like the Mega Pearls or the Kappa Sweethearts or something like that. I was a Mega Pearl at the time. We weren't considered Greek, so that was a little bit of beef because like y'all not Greek. How you stepping and you not Greek? Well, we're really not Greek, but anyway, you know what I'm saying? But in saying that, I didn't see a lot of it, and if it was academic and it wasn't like, to join their sorority. I didn't see that at all. I seen the flip side maybe a couple of times, while we were there. And
how did you feel about that? No. Like, white Kappa or white Omega or white Alpha?
I think it's just how you grew up culturally. That person wasn't trying to be, what they say, cultural appropriation, wasn't trying to be Black. That's just how they grew up. They grew up, in the Black community, some Black people, mixed people in the families. You know what I mean? Maybe like, relationships, Black aunt, white uncle, white aunt, Black uncle. So they grew up with it. So they felt, it was okay. So they were accepted more now. It was somebody coming in like, hey, dude, I want to be bro. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Omega, didn't see that. So if it was more of a natural or seemed, a little bit like you were raised that way or you weren't trying to be something, then, but I also know too that they try, may have made it a little more difficult where, I've
heard stories.
You know what I'm saying? Made it a little more difficult to see if you really are, are you
going to, Are you saying that Marshall University would actually haze people? Hazing was illegal. Oh, okay.
No, sir. I didn't never say that.
Because, they never hazed at HBCUs.
No. Just your experience in the trials and the things you have to do to become a part of the organization. Become more stringent, some things. Okay. So, yes,
I never met a white woman as a Delta or AKA or even Zeta. I've seen a albino Zeta, but I've never seen light. But I've never seen a white Delta or AKA.
I haven't. Look, we just had our regional convention in Minneapolis a couple of weeks ago. So I went there. Thousands of Deltas, my first conference, for Delta Sigma Theta there. And it was amazing to see that many people from so many different places in the airport. Oh, soror, you know what I mean? It's like, didn't even know you, but like you were saying, they recognized you for, your letters and things you had on. And it was immediate. Like I didn't get like, girl, why you weren't, it wasn't that. And so I felt positive about the sisterhood about it. Absolutely. Because it was real, and I didn't meet people. Now you could see people hanging together from where you came from. Like, okay, you came from this chapter, you came from this chapter. But overall, when we opened up and we all went to see Kevin Hart with some sisters that we met on the elevator. Oh, we're going to see Kevin Hart tonight. Y'all want to go? Sure, let's get tickets now. And we left and went to Kevin Hart. And it was just like that. So the sisterhood, I can just only speak for Delta Sigma Theta, is super dope. And I did experience that, a couple of weeks, ago in Minneapolis. And it was great to see like all red, all white, all purple.
I have a question.
Yes.
So did you try to, because I know your story, but maybe people don't. Did you try to join as an undergrad or as an adult?
I did. I tried to join as an undergrad at Marshall, but they weren't on the campus at the time. So we had to go through West Virginia State at the time. But then grades came around, didn't get to do it. We would have to go through. So that's why I did Omega Pearl. However, I did pledge grad chapter afterwards. So Absolutely. So I did go grad chapter. So the Charleston Institute alumni chapter here in West Virginia, through West Virginia State, down there, we have, the Alpha Delta is the collegiate chapter there. But I did go grad chapter, but I'm glad I did have the undergrad experience, even though it wasn't Greek or Omega Pearl.
Gotcha.
Because I like that. And those females, the 13 of us, and we still like this today. Had a girls trip with like 15 of us like last year, hooked up years and, got back together like it was nothing. And we go to people's weddings and birthdays and things like that and, baby showers and whatever. But really like the sisterhood with that. So that's one part. The only thing I wish I did add is the history of, the history in, just African-American history. Those are specific classes that you would have to take, in order to learn this? Is it different as an HBCU? Is it required that you have to take this? Like, how is that, the history part of it? That's what I wish I had, because, I'm not, if I have it in a disciplinary way, I know I'll do it. If you leave it up to me, I'm like, I get to it. But is it, I wish I had that, and I wish there was more of that, on the campus.
The reason why I asked you of your story, I am not associated or a part of any Greek organization. I part of my little football frat, and we was, basically, more of a social group of all things social. However, seeing things on my campus as a HBCU student, that's some of the things that was real turn off, where my roommate in college, he actually was online, then they dropped the line. I was like, man, I can't go through that. I had to fight people.
Now the fees be a little bit much.
Then when he told me his experience on his grad chapter at a PWI, he was like, man, it was totally different. They was actually trying to, recruit me. They was like, yo, we want you over here. These one, we want you over here. So like, they basically, he was like, it almost felt like a bidding war for him. And I was like, damn, whereas at, undergrad, it was almost like they'll put one sign up and then people will try to keep it a secret. And then you'll have the rush, and then, 200 people show up, and then they like, people being
crazy.
Nasty. And then, some type of extortion is going on, and you're sitting there like, yo, what is y'all doing it? But then you hear stories from other places where it's like, nah, we ain't doing none of that, because they don't have as many students trying to be in that organization. And as an adult, people looked at me and asked me, like, why you ain't in it? I was like, why you ain't in a fraternity? I'm like, I'm good. You're like, I'm good. I got in a lot of trouble, and I was trying not to get in anymore, because I saw what was going to happen. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stay over here. Yeah, cool. But y'all don't know the type of person I am, so I'm gonna just move over here, and I'm gonna just stay in my little corner and try to quietly get through this experience of being a student. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. Just with the graduate chapter, because it's all about community service. So I think that's probably why people want you to come. Like, you're supposed to be doing things in the community all the time. And if you don't have a large chapter, you don't have a lot of people, you have to say it gets to be a lot, and then you're not effective, and you got the same 5 people doing all of your community service work, or giving a reading to the students, or giving back, or whatnot, whatever it is. So I think that's a part of it. When the grad level, you're more about giving back. We're on the collegiate level, which I learned that they have collegiates that actually came to this conference that we were at that actually have like positions for the region, for the local chapters that they bring back from the national meeting. So you had collegiates that came in and were sworn in as the president over, the region from the collegiate level. And we have collegiates doing there. So they're more about partying and kicking it. You do have to do some stuff, community service, washing cars, and usually like things like that. But, when you're on the collegiate, it's more community based. You're getting into politics. You're getting into, the mentoring of the younger ones to come up and, groom them to become a part of the organization, or be a part of some type of leadership, in the community or school or whatnot. So that was cool. That was good to see, because I didn't even know that. I had no idea that collegiates actually went to these conventions or had a place, on that level, nationally.
Okay. So, how you feel about Kamala? How you feel about Kamala?
Hey, I'm glad. She's just a Black woman to me. She in the office. She, she pressed her way through. She got there, whether some people like it or not. You know how they say F Joe Biden and that, I'm seeing those stickers. You know what I mean? I'm like, wow. But to me, it doesn't matter, what Greek organization she would have been in. She's there. You know what I mean? Just for the community, for the culture. I'm not hating. You know what I mean? So she had chucks and pearls in pink, and we had chucks and pearls in red and, crimson and cream. So, I mean.
Doesn't
matter.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because at our Fudge, Marsha Fudge, Judge.
Have no idea what you're talking
about. She's a Delta. You know what I'm saying? She was at the convention and she's
you just said Marsha Fudge. I thought you was talking about like, yeah, we got this different type of chocolate. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? No. Marsha Fudge, you just broke that out of nowhere. Like, we got Marsha Fudge. Like,
oh yeah, but she was at our convention, so we're on levels.
No. I got you. It's cool. Right. It's cool. Let's change the subject because because I'm not a Greek. Somebody might interpret what I'm saying as being disrespectful, and I'm like, no, I'm not saying anything disrespectful. It's just that when you talk about your own experiences, people are like, well, that's not true. Like, no, that's my experience. Got you. All right. So what's next up on the agenda? Because we running out of time.
We've already hour in. We've just been talking. We're already hour in. We're killing it. We're killing it. All right. Last topic we got is we're bringing up the Emmy Awards. They're coming up here. What is it? 74th Emmy Awards. 74th Emmy Awards, and you got Kenan Thompson, who will be hosting that show. So. I think they said Lizzo might be a special guest that he's going to have on there, kind of co-hosting with them or something like that. So, what are your thoughts on the Emmys? You going to have another Will Smith that might come up?
No, absolutely not.
Will we have another one of those?
No, I think they just said we're going to get the safe black man up there. Some safe black guy. We don't want any issues.
They could have got Nick Cannon.
They could have got the safe black man. Like, we don't want too much. Chris Rock might say something because before Chris Rock was always hilarious. I love Kevin Hart. Dave Chappelle is too edgy for the Emmys because that letter crew.
I would like to meet him one day.
Yeah, that letter crew. They might get Dave, and they deep at the Emmy. So, get somebody real safe. And I think Kenan Thomas is a very safe black male that they could have. I don't want to diminish any of the longevity with him in Saturday Night Live. However, Saturday Night Live is not the same. I think after In Living Color came in, I think I never looked at Saturday Night Live like the same again. I looked at Mad TV a little bit. I was like, yeah, they were edgier, like real edgy.
Yeah, they were.
It was just like, but Living Color,
Mad TV.
I think they just had, a great cast and it had overwhelming talent. Whereas, Saturday Night Live, I think their writers were their talent. But when the writers got with the right person, it did well. But I start looking at some of the stuff. I was like, it's not really the same anymore. But, the Emmys, I want to talk about a couple of shows that I've watched. Game of Thrones, I
haven't got, people keep talking about it.
Excuse me, ma'am. This is the time where you should be silent. You should be silent when you're talking about one of the greatest shows of all time.
I heard that. I guess I'll have to,
and it's a little slow.
I'm not excited about it.
No.
Isn't it like
all of us
type Jones?
No,
I think that's
all of us that are Game of Thrones, like we got excited because we just thought it was going forever, and then we start hearing rumblings, and then when they went production, I was like, they was making too much money off of Game of Thrones. Did them just let it go like that?
I don't get it. So what's the point of Game of Thrones?
Game of Thrones is showing
kill people?
No. It's basically a show talking about like royal families and how they develop, and they're actually vying for power. And certain families are aligning with others.
Oh, thrones, like a
Game of Thrones. Yes, a throne, like a chair. So now these families, and then it has some magical sorcery that was involved, like the Day of the Dead or Night of the Dead, where all the dead people was going to be brought back to life by the King of the Dead, in which darkness will rule over the entire world for a millennium or millenniums, and there was a big battle. But the new Game of Thrones is talking about, how all those houses got to be how they were. So this is a prequel. So it's similar to, if anybody's ever watched the Star Wars trilogy, the first three that came out, Star Wars,
I finally got able to understand the difference between Star Wars,
Empire Strikes Back. That was dope, but that was not. And
it's
then Return of
really
the Jedi.
Cool.
Yeah, Return of the Jedi. And then they rebooted it and placed the prequels and showed you how Darth Vader became Darth Vader. He was Anakin, and then how Anakin developed into Darth Vader, and then how the
like raising Kanan on a
correct. Yes. How he became, Kanan. So now they're doing that, and it's pretty cool because you're showing this part, but let's show you how this part, but they're showing it in different sequences. So if anybody's like a movie buff like me, think of Pulp Fiction, but in a series form. It's a series form of Pulp Fiction. But I really enjoyed the new one of what is it called? House of Dragons. So it's showing you about the Targaryens and their ascension into power.
I think you're a weirdo.
Yeah, definitely. The
House
bear
of Dragons. The bear.
The bear is about this 5-star chef that was at the most premier restaurant in the world, and he was one of the great, best chefs in the world, and he comes back to take over his brother's restaurant in Chicago, and it was just a greasy spoon where they make sandwiches, little meals. So you have a 5-star ref trying to implement 5-star chef's regiment inside of a basically almost like a sandwich shop, and the conflicts that are there, and he's dealing with depression because his brother committed suicide and then left him this restaurant. He has to he had a mental break because being a chef at that level is super stressful. I mean, one of the stressful jobs. So him just dealing with depression, just going through going
you
to
watch
groups.
That and I'll watch Chopped.
Okay, no. Yeah. All right. So that was a series pretty good. The reboot the reboot of Grownish, where Junior's now in college, and now you start to see the social issues come to a forefront, which is pretty good. I like looking at Grownish, try to keep the pulse of what the young people
I'm in and out on Grownish. I like it with the ones that I've watched.
This is the last season of Queen Sugar. I can't
get into Queen Sugar.
It's real good.
It's overacting to me, man. I think it's overacting.
No,
I don't know why. I can't get.
It's real good because it's showing you class issues and a lot of times it's very difficult for people
can't get past the acting
outside of let's say a Black community.
So you're trying to say,
outside of a Black community, understanding that there's class issues within the Black community, and then there's racial overtones throughout the whole environment. So it's like the nuances of just imagine you having a fight with your sister and y'all having a fight, but now y'all got to go on the street, and it's like, okay, we gotta fight the world now, but me and you ain't getting along. And it's that dynamic is pretty awesome. What's some other shows that is really stand out to me?
They have a lot of, what did you say? They have a lot of different
Rap-ish. That's creation by Issa Rae, because Insecure is no longer,
I like Insecure. I do like Insecure.
It's no longer on. They concluded Insecure. Some people had an issue with the ending. I looked at it, I was like, ending was I liken that to The Sopranos, like all of that, and that's.
I wonder. So Emmys are the awards for television and just television.
Television, so not movies.
So
just television.
I wonder if P Valley made it anywhere.
Okay.
I wonder if P Valley. Have you watched P Valley?
Watch P Valley. That's why I'm trying to go through many of the ones and my take on them. I'm going to get there because I'm gonna get the stars all together. But if you look at Rap-ish, because I was really on HBO at the time. Rap-ish, that's Issa Rae's creation about these two girls. They're kind of friends, but they're not. And then one was on her way to being a rap star. Then she's not. She's a hostess at a upscale hotel. And the other one, she's a Instagram influencer, and she's just trying to finesse dudes.
That sounds like a skit from what's the football movie with it's a TV show. Okay. Football with I forget, but anyway, that's kind of a thing. But go ahead.
So it shows the dynamics between them. only knock I really have about Issa Rae's shows, and this is not just this show, her shows are way too short. You know, she's trying to speed through because you have a half an hour. You know, and that's like, Issa,
it makes you mad. You'd be like,
know,
it's over already, and I gotta wait another 4 months for another
it's
season.
not even that. It's like some of the character development is not all the way there. You would need to flesh them out all the way. So for me, looking at it, I was like, you know, like, I could never put you in the level where I think you belong, like where Shonda Rhimes. Like, I can't put you in that category yet. Right. I see you getting there, but once you get to a hour and develop these characters, like flesh it all the way out, and then you know you could definitely be there, because you can't be with the big dogs if you can't put a longer sequence together. But you know, I do enjoy the show. Now let's get to your stuff, because it seems like you want to talk about stars. So Raising Kanan, he's coming back, and it was partially about 50's life growing up. So he spoke about that some years ago, about this was a project, you know, loosely based on his life. But we know in the story, and I think everybody who knows 50's story is kind of looking like, when is the Queen Pen? Because it's talking about a Queen pen drug dealer in Queens, but we know that his mom gets killed, you know, in real life. However, looking at
Queen Pen now,
looking at the show, you see how her son is having to maneuver with learning about who his real father, biological father is, and now you can see him developing trust issues, because the person that he trusts the most may be giving him the most damaging information, and not being trust. You know, that's hard when your mom, you can't get the truth from your mom. You
can't trust your mom.
You seeing the break coming. You seeing that the other character, his cousin that he's the tightest with, she's got the identity crisis of being homosexual during this time, where it wasn't. So people don't know, especially young kids. This was not widely acceptable like it is now. So this is why she's having this identity crisis, as well as Juba, as well as an issue with her drug dealing father,
her dad,
who doesn't accept her lifestyle and has physically, in a way, abused her. So now you have all of these things going on, and now you got to see how she develops, because Jukebox ends up, as we saw in Power, becoming a police officer.
Yeah.
So now you you see how she's developing into that.
So do you think the Emmy Awards, do we have a lot of shows? Like, I'm looking at all the different categories that they have: comedy, drama, reality, short form, variety talk shows, and variety specials, and all of that. But
we ain't talking about some of the best ones. Like, for instance, Abbott Elementary. Hilarious.
Oh, yeah. You said about that. I forgot to tap in. I do want to watch.
Oh, my God. That is hilarious.
Like a piece of that. Yeah, that looks cool. Yeah.
Abbott Elementary is showcasing, elementary school, K-8, I believe, elementary school faculty and staff and students, and some of the things that they're having to deal with an inept principal. And a district that's, somewhat cash strapped and having to make some financial decisions. And then the former star, the star of the former show, Everyone Hates Chris, he's playing a substitute teacher who becomes a permanent teacher, which happens all the time in regular school settings. And him having a crush on the one of his co-workers, who she's in a relationship with, a 30-something-year-old aspiring rapper, trying to break into the industry. And
at 30 years old.
Yeah, at 30 plus. 30 plus. He's not just 30 plus years of age, and it's like, how do you, maneuver? And then some of the things that, a veteran teacher is going, they did a great job of mixing reality with contemporary issues, and then giving a fresh perspective on elementary. It's not cliche-ish, and also the setting being in Philadelphia, so giving some of that Philly slang like people didn't know, like John.
I'm gonna tap in. I like John.
Yeah,
John. I learned that from my students. I'd be like, you from DC, you from Philly,
you from
Jersey, you from
Carolina,
you can say Chumpy. You from ATL.
Yeah, you'd be like Chumpy
or dummies.
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 Like, what up, dummy? I'm like, why you calling him? Like, that's what we do. That's my dummy. We go dumb. I'm like, what?
Yeah, well, hold up. You always hear, and this is where they put the emphasis. Exactly. If you say exactly, like,
funny.
Like in Jersey, we used to say word. Like we always like word. Like now we say bars in here.
Yeah.
But like Jersey be like, yo, word, like word. You can use it a different way. Word. Like somebody say something about you, like, yo, such and such was talking about you, Jay. You be like, word. Like, yeah, I'm a getter. Or if somebody's saying something and then you agree, you be like, word. So word was, our thing in Jersey.
I still say word.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, people don't even notice that was a word. They're like, I don't remember. I said word. It's like,
I stood it. Yeah, right. It had,
right.
Your tone, it had multiple meanings for one word.
Yeah, look, look. Word. like word.
Like word.
Yeah, so that was our thing. So theirs was, exactly. That's Philly, exactly. And you got to say exactly right. It's just different. So, Abbott Elementary, some other shows that I think has to
I'm trying to take a look here. At the shows.
Selling Sunsets.
You gotta be a TV person to really.
I'm and the crazy part is I'm not.
It's like TV, like some of these shows they have on here. By the way, RuPaul won for the reality outstanding host for reality. RuPaul won for RuPaul Drag Race.
Oh no, they should not. Whoa.
He got it for 2022.
Wait. They got it over Pose.
They got it over. I love Pose. Pose was great, by the way.
I don't watch it, but I heard about it. Yeah.
No, Pose taught me a lot about that. I could even talk to my students about because I didn't understand it. But Pose put me on to the understanding because they were calling each other mommy, and I'm like, what are you talking about? But I get it. Like that's my mother, and it broke it all down and how you understand how it would go. But I actually like Pose. But yeah, so over the nominees for that one, it was Queer Eye, Nailed It, Shark Tank, Top Chef, Making It, and RuPaul Drag Race. But this is for
you said RuPaul host. Won out of that category.
It's the host for a reality program. It's the host.
Oh.
That's different from the actual. Okay. They have a award for the host of the program. So that was one, but the actual Pose that was actually good.
Yeah, I like Chop out of those. The ones you just mentioned, I like Chop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So looking at some of those shows, some of the shows that I wish they put back to network that was very good. The Good Wife is not on, but the continuation of The Good Wife is The Good Fight. That one I really enjoy. And I always love 60 Minutes because of their commentary and breakdown and exposés. But I still want them to really get back to their old form of like tackling some hard issues and not being scared.
Yeah.
Because I still see the political slant, and I'm like, CNN used to be good, but they went so far left, and Fox News is just, it's like so far right, like Fox News, you can't even believe them. So it's like y'all not even like before. It's like you got to be on because Fox as a station had to fight the big three. So us growing up, we had the big three. You had ABC, NBC, and CBS.
CBS.
And CBS. Those were the big three. And then during our lifetime, we saw Fox fight their way. And the way they did it was they got the contract for the NFL, NFC. And so when they got football, they bum rushed their way. They bum rushed their way right in there. Yep. And so now we don't say the big three anymore. I know kids now like, what are you talking about? It's always been 5 or 4. Like, no, it used to be 3. It used to be CBS, Channel 2, NBC, Channel 4. I know in different areas it's different numbers, but I'll say the letters. NBC and ABC, Channel 7. Those were the big 3. Fox bum rushed their way. So you said Fox now because now they're a part of it. And then WB. WB was like the distant cousins, like, all right, if nothing else is.
Every time WB, it was cartoons or you had some other, you might find
they had some stuff.
Some black shows on there.
Yeah, they had some shows that was pretty cool.
What else we got?
And everything. So
directing, writing. I'm just looking at some of the supporting actresses. Have you ever seen the show Succession? They have a lot of nominations for.
I tried to watch.
I don't know what it's about, but
but nah, it didn't catch my attention enough, so I don't want to speak about it. It could be a good show, but it was about a monarch per se, and not a monarch, excuse me, I should not use that term, apologies. It was a very wealthy person, and he had a company, and he has 3 children, I believe it's 3 or 4 children, and they wanted to know who was going to be in charge of the company and take over the reins of this $1 billion
I get it.
business.
Gotcha.
And so this is why, and it shows you the maneuvering between the children to get in the daddy's good graces, and also to push dad out. Like, yo, you should have did this 5-10 years ago, but you just couldn't let go of the reins. Yo, we've been running the company, but you won't let go. Like, get out. So they're trying to push him
like a
out.
church bishop on his last leg. Like, get out already. Let some new blood in.
So I don't, I'm not sure of that because I don't know
that. You croak.
Yeah. So that's what the premise is, but I haven't watched enough of those shows to give you a deep dive or a critical analysis, but that's the premise of the show.
All right. So we got outstanding lead actors in a comedy series. We got our dude from Atlanta, Donald Glover. He's in there from the show Donald Glover. He's one of the nominees for outstanding lead actor in a comedy series, and he's among some other people there. He's among I don't know who none of these people are.
Atlanta got weird. Atlanta got weird to me because I thought last season was the last season. Then they said no, this season, and I was like, yeah, it's starting to get like disjointed. It's not congruent. It doesn't flow from season to season, and it just doesn't. It's like I think he has ADD. I think he had ADD. He's all over the place, and it's like, oh man, this series good. And then you can see how it gets, and it's like the flow was just disjointed. But I love how some of the characters, I love the paperboy character. He's just hilarious to me. Like, he is, quote unquote doing nigga shit. Goodness gracious. But you seeing the evolution of him. And the relationship with him and his baby mother.
Like bits and pieces. Who we got? The winner for the outstanding guest actor in a drama series in Euphoria, Coleman Domingo. He's the African American guy.
Never watched.
I haven't either, but he won. He won that.
What about All of Us? All of Us is up there because
I like All of Us. What would that be? I'd have to. But what is that? That wouldn't be a drama. That would be a drama, right?
That would be a drama. But however, I've never watched it. My wife told me it's excellent. And
I like it. It's great. I do like it.
She cries and I'm like, I'm not coming there. You think I want to cry? Like, you might need
Let's say drama series. Who we got? Outstanding drama series. The only ones they have on here for this. Euphoria, Ozark, Squid Game, Stranger Things, Succession, Yellow Jackets, and Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul. That's my jam.
You watch that?
Yeah, that's actually the spinoff from Breaking Bad. So Breaking Bad was the story about the chemistry teacher, high school chemistry teacher, becoming the meth king of the West. So he was distributing the best type of methamphetamine in the West. So crystal meth, excuse me. So he was the crystal meth king, and he amassed this, and he had cancer, and he ended up trying to get killed, but he left his fortune to his disabled son and his ex-wife. Gotcha. But he got disgraced because he got found out by his brother-in-law, but he ended up getting killed. So Breaking Bad, awesome series. It won a whole bunch of Academy Awards. But Saul, Better Call Saul was his lawyer, but he was like a shiesty lawyer, but he kind of knew like all the little nuance of how to get you off and get you out of troubles and stuff. And it may not have been the best, ethically. He's like, he was not ethical, but you had to love his ingenuity. Saul.
I have to check it out. I never saw that. So some of these I'm gonna have to tap into just for conversation when we do these talks and kind of be on top of some stuff. But I'm gonna do one more. Let me see. For outstanding television movie for 2022, Rescue Rangers is one of the nominees. Rescue Rangers 22, Ray Donovan, Reno 911, The Survivor, and Zoe's Extraordinary Christmas. So I don't know all these, but they're coming up. The 74th Emmy Awards. There's a lot of things on there. I didn't get to get P-Valley. I know it is a reality. No, I mean, what is that? What would it be?
P-Valley is cool, but I do want to say they're getting real Empire-ish, pushing the LGBTQ plus community. Like that's how Empire was. Empire and Power was similar. People had comparison, and then some people was like, "No, they're not the same." And then you saw.
Now this is a whole nother. This is a whole.
But it wasn't as much, and I think it's intentional. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. What do you think about that? That's kind of your take on that. Like the shows culturally, that they're pushing these, and some people say it's not pushing an agenda. This is what's happening.
No, no, and they're making it seem like that's the huge backdrop of many African American communities. No, it's just a small portion. Just imagine if somebody was talking about a church and saying that, okay, that community is huge in the church. It's like, no, it's not. It's you have some. It's a minority, a small group that's within the larger group. But if you put it on TV, it's going to be 50% of the church, and it's like that's not a correct. It's too disproportionate. Put it that way. So P-Valley, I see that they're just touching everything and trying to do everything for everybody. And I'm like, okay, you got the gay thing, you got the abuse thing, okay, the COVID thing. And it's like, okay, pick a struggle. Like pick a struggle.
So you think it's doing too much? It's tapping into too many different things.
And it's getting too outrageous. But so it's looking
it's a lot. It's almost like soft porn, like for real.
Oh yeah, but it's also tapping into that into the demographics of strip club culture. So now you're starting to see,
and that's real for a lot of people. I mean,
using that word, use a lot of people, where that is a small amount of people.
It is correct.
Thank you.
I think correct.
All right. Right. Yeah, it's for that community.
It happens, though, but
I'm not denying it.
Happens. You was in Magic City.
Some people were absolutely, and then you starting to see, okay, how did they survive during the pandemic? See, I thought that should have been the primary focus. No, they did. They tried to show how they tried to work around the guidelines of the pandemic. I'm thinking if you're a true writer, you was going to write about the girl starting OnlyFans.
Well, she did. No, remember she had her own eyelash line and little. She tried to do a little something.
But what is the big picture? What they're writing about is the interracial relationship.
That was and also
interracial and abuse. That became the huge topic. So now you got the dynamic.
They were just on Cameron. They were just on her show. They cast.
And it's cool. And Little Murder is blowing up because, I think
Little Murder, big murder for real.
I think it's similar to Omar from The Wire, Michael K. Williams, where he was playing a gay thug on The Wire, which is the greatest series ever.
That's The Wire. I was just watching that. We started watching that from the beginning like a month ago.
Facts. I did it this summer. Yeah. But The Wire. And where he was kissing and it was like, yo, that's some great acting. That's tough. And that's why I say that's what separates like singers and rappers, actors versus real actors. Because he got in the role and I was like, yeah, go ahead. You want that role? Some people like, yeah, he got in that show. And I was like, all right, see if you can do that. Because that's where it was like, that's the test right there. Because to me, I was like, yeah.
But maybe that's the role he wanted. Maybe that's the role that.
Because look at the actors. They're not real well-known acters. You know what I mean? Like everyone looks like
they're in some different shows. Like the Nico guy, he's in he plays
correct.
Some others.
He was in Tyler Perry stuff.
I forget what it was.
Yeah, he was in a couple of Tyler Perry shows and stuff. Absolutely. He's on BET. You ain't seen none of these mugs on no man. You're not gonna do that. But I seen some
shout
of
out
them.
to them. At least they trying.
They
to
got
each
it.
is your own. No, they got it.
Got
P
it.
Valley is a show, and they're moving that direction. But so if you had your say of a show, like would you ever? What kind of show would you have? Like a television series?
Oh, mine would
What is
be.
there something that you would like to see that would be beneficial?
It would be.
Before we close out, I would like to know.
It would be a dramedy. And when people mention a dramedy, like it has some seriousness to it, but it has a lot of comedy. So for me, that's mostly my life. Like, it has some tragic stuff happen. However, you see a lot of comedy and lightheartedness, but you'll see the seriousness in different parts. I'm drawing a blank right now. It's a particular show I wanted to say that was similar to it, where it's all fun and games, but then you see like the seriousness of it, and then it's like, nah, that's not funny. And I'm drawing a blank. I'm drawing a blank right now. And it's a show where you see it's a show you see where you see the laugh and the joke, and then it gets serious and it goes dark, and you like, wow. So for instance, I always loved Blackish. I loved it. I love the diversity and the thoughts and giving a different perspective, because they'll put the surface. King Barris would put the surface things that's just obvious and then show you a different side. And it's like giving his perspective. So that was his stamp of showing you like, yo, yeah, you can see this, but look at this. When he was showing his son, like, call the police. Yeah, we call the police on them. And then his son called the police on the black kids. And he's like, no, you don't call it on the black kids. And you see it, and it's like, oh, like when you call, like, you can't do it, because he didn't understand, because he didn't come from that culture. So him being an upper, up, not middle class, but he's like lower rich, upper middle class, because his dad is an executive and his mom is a doctor. You know what I mean? So they're well to do. So he doesn't know.
I was glad they did that, like kind of like Cosby Show. Everybody just wasn't a blue collar worker, but you got some, you know what I mean?
Nobody's talking about Fresh Prince reboot. Is any of those there? Because I heard that was crazy.
No, I was actually looking through, and a lot of people had issues with that though, with the Fresh Prince, because they made him do drugs. They made Carlton do drugs. Carlton doesn't do drugs. Why did you make
but it's not a comedy.
Gay
it's
versus,
a dramedy.
That wasn't Fresh Prince. That's not truly what Fresh Prince is. I don't see that. I'm looking. Let me see. Tyler James Williams is from comedy series.
Okay.
So Gmo, I don't know who that is, but anyway, what's that? Ted Lasso and some. I didn't see. I wonder if I could type it in.
So and it's
what was that? That was
pretty awesome.
What was it called? What was it called?
They should have a category is the best. The best glow up. Like I think between Method Man,
the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I think between Method Man and Mary as the up and coming rapper / singer of doing it, because they've been doing it for a while, but I'm seeing his diversity now. So I'm like, nah, he's, because when I see him play a shiesty lawyer, I was like, wow.
He's good. I give him his, he did.
Because he always played the thug, but because I watched The Wire, rewatching The Wire this summer, and after watching that and then seeing him in Power, and I was just like, man. He's
like
growing.
Method Man. Like, go ahead.
Wu-Tang, come back. What are y'all doing? You taking too long. Getting on my nerves.
Wu-Tang, come back.
Yeah, because the Wu-Tang series, the saga, man. Oh my God, they showing you the development of Wu-Tang. Oh, that series.
Yeah, that was cool.
Super awesome. Cool. I love the ideas from Irv Gotti. I love the ideas about Tales. And making songs into mini series and stuff. So I like the idea. So a couple of them, I was like, the first series, I was like, all right, I get it. These new ones, I was like, yeah, I'm not sure. But he did some interviews. He's doing some, as I like to say, F-boy stuff. Talking about, as like pillow talking. So but now let's talk about like some of these podcasts. See, look, these series and everything. I'm like, yeesh. Some of these podcasts, I'm like, these podcasts are getting super large. Some people are branching out. Breakfast Club had a had Angela leave. She always had her own show, Lip Service, but now she's doing something separate from the Breakfast Club, so she's leaving. So how would that look? Also, what is it? Gillian
when
Wallow.
When I seen Patti LaBelle on Drink Champs, that was like, what?
Yeah, but I like Drink Champs, but I don't, because I think that Nori is not really a good interviewer, because sometimes he speaks.
He be drunk.
True, but that's the premise. But the bad part is, like knowing when to shut up. Yo, let him talk, let him breathe, let it go. But I love his, innuendos. And how he said, okay, wait a minute, I understand that. Okay, wait a minute, what did you say? Yeah. And he's doing all that. Oh my God, he's great, as that. But it's like, but I can say he has improved from the beginning. I truly see the improvement. That was good. Gillian Wallow all over the place with $1 million worth of game. Also Joe Rogan, a little weird to me, because Rogan says some wild stuff, but I guess he could do whatever he want when you got that type of dough. So Rogan is Rogan, do what he want. And Joe Budden podcast, I think Roy and Maul have their own. Joe, I enjoy some of the banter with Ish and oh my God, what's the other dude's name? Ice.
I don't know that name.
Ish and Ice, and I really enjoy, the different perspectives, especially Ice, where I resonate more with because of his temperament as well as his rationale. Whereas Ice, I think maybe is younger and has a different tone, but I do appreciate it. I think Joe, he's the sauce. He's the sauce. Like he stirs the pot very well, and at the same time, he comes in and says some things that maybe gets a lot of sensationalized. Angie Martinez came out with a new podcast, and
called Die. Was it Death?
Yeah, we're all gonna die or something.
Yeah, but she said she's gonna change though. She's gonna change the title. That she's not gonna stick with that. Yeah,
but each year
that was kind of dark. But it wasn't that, but
but she wants to start the conversation of that, but we can go into different places, and people having, different perspectives about things. So,
they got Club Shay too. What about Club Shay?
Oh,
with Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp, but I don't really.
Club Shay. Do you watch that? There's a couple of ones that have the
Pivot.
entertainment.
I love Pivot. Yeah, Pivot. Knuckleheads. Pivot.
Right. What's the one in the barbershop and they be in the chairs in the barbershop?
Oh, that's Mav Hoffa.
I like that.
My expert, Mav Hoffa, my expert.
I like that one. T.I. He has his podcast. It is. I haven't. It's been a long time, so it probably is. It was another one too that I liked. It was oh no. It was a little weird with Tank and
Is it a podcast or he was on a podcast?
No, it's a podcast. He was on the podcast. Who ran the podcast? It
was about singers. I think it was Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx. Yeah. That
was about.
I think it was Tank. I think it was Tank's show. Tank was on, but he had Jamie Foxx on. It wasn't
a Jamie Foxx show, and he had Tank.
And he had Tank on. I wanted it to. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was about songers, real R&B, and it's really geared towards R&B singers and stuff because of what was happening in Versus, where the iconic Ray J started singing One Wish and was clean off key and horrible, and then Omarion got in and started feeding people, eating watermelon on stage. Like the coonery was at an all-time
that was
high.
Terrible.
Right. So it was showing, the craftsmanship or the artistry of singing R&B.
Yeah.
So it's different, but all these podcasts, which are, some of them are pretty phenomenal, but something that I really enjoyed was some of those smaller ones, like In My Expert Opinion, and this new guy that it seems like he's getting on all the new podcasts is Charleston White. Charleston White talking about you snitch on people. Like he's
no. You know what?
He's encouraging. He was
like, hit me up in the inbox, like, hey, can I be on your podcast? And this is what I have. I'm gonna go look on my. You get
if
some
you
of
got Charleston White is hilarious.
Wait a minute.
But he makes some very valid points. He said, no, you should snitch on anything. You out here killing, robbing people, and then kicking in people's doors. Yeah. If somebody snitch on you, you should. You got good, decent folks out here working hard for a living, and you trying to rob them. Yeah.
Well, we're going to get on these. They have a whole list of like top 100, like, Black podcasts, or just podcasts in general, but Black podcasts. We're going to see. You guys are going to see KROSS BARZ, on that list. Y'all need to go in to subscribe and stuff to KROSS BARZ, because we're definitely going to make our way. We in our own lane. We doing our own thing.
Facts.
They have a bunch of other ones, and which I'm not knocking anybody, because there's so many different ways you could go with a podcast. Yep. But I know Therapy for Black Girls was a good one. I do tap into that one every now and then. It's out of Atlanta, and it's a really cool one as well. But there's so many podcasts. But you guys look for the KROSS BARZ. We're heading on 2 years. Big O, did you realize that?
No, 2.
December will be 2 years. Listen. We started this in December 20 is when we first aired our first podcast, and that was in the beginning before I was there, your first one, and then I came in maybe around 3 or so in January. But it's coming on 2 years, so we got to do something big, change it around, switch it up. We need to get some more subscribers, guys. So you guys, we got about 71 subscribers. We need to get that number up. We're working hard on this side. We got some great guests. They need to go check out the website. But we're going to get back out there, get the Instagram and the TikTok going a little bit harder, get our KROSS BARZ gear finally up on the daggone site. Been back and forth with that, but it's definitely coming. I think we got a lot to say, man. I think we got some good information. We got Big O. If you ain't got Big O, I'm just saying. If y'all ain't got Big O, you don't got no podcast. Because I'm telling you, this guy's got wit. You know what I mean? He got comedy. He's smart. He got a big forehead. He got a big head. There's a lot of knowledge there. There's not a lot of knowledge. That's what I'm talking about, like your knowledge that you uphold, in your brain. Okay. Yeah. But
it's all good.
Yeah. This is our first live though. What do you think about doing this a little boy? Every now and then we just tap in.
Listen, I'm always live. People come up to me talking because most people know me talking, movies, history, and sports. And usually sports, I got way wild takes. And I light people up, and sometimes I look at people and I just kind of grin and laugh at them like, listen, I don't like having them JV conversations no more. Like if your level of knowledge ain't here, I'm like,
That's right. I have a saying. I say that, like, if I haven't changed or I ain't learned nothing in the conversation, or we can't be like, I'm not going to talk about people. What's that one saying? We talk about people, things, what I mean? We need to talk about next level stuff. So we're gonna bring some more stuff to the table. Get our people on board. I want to talk about finances on more, like wealth building. I like that. If we can get
it's all good. You can talk about it all you want, but if people aren't changing, how they think and everything, something that kind of scared me that I saw, and I said it made me nervous, and I said, that's something I have to look into. I don't know how true it is, but I was looking at a gentleman online, and they played a snippet of him speaking about who made TikTok. And he was like, do you know who make TikTok? So people looking.
Came out of China or something.
Correct. TikTok came out of China. And he said that the algorithms in TikTok allows you to see certain things. So in China, give a shout out to the gentleman, the Middle Eastern gentleman who actually pointed this out. You've probably seen a clip of him going viral, but if you haven't, I'm gonna give the sentiments of it. He was stating that if you look at TikTok in China, the algorithms are going to show you kids doing well in school, creating a business, doing something good as far as, scholarly events and things that that nature. So the algorithm are going to keep on showing you some, productivity of the youth in China. And so when you see it, you're trying to recreate that or do that. So it's giving you more points when you have that. So you're not going to see all the negative and all the nonsense. Whereas in America, there's a different algorithm. It's going to show pranks. Like, yeah, pranks are funny, but it shows like, okay, boy slaps pie in mom's face. It's like, yeah, it's funny and maybe, but then it's like undertone, like you just slapped your mom. It's like, okay, they doing this to show fights, like doing fights and stuff.
The tortilla challenge. I wish I would ask my mama to smack her with a tortilla.
Yo, fam. So in America, they're giving
like, I'm gonna pray for you to name it.
Like, yeah. So now in the algorithm, you'll see that in America, all these different things that are, degradation to our society are coming up, whereas in China they're showing more positive and uplifting things. And what you see, because you see it actually resonates in your brain. So now that's why even myself, like, I play little games on the phone, not try to look at Instagram or Facebook. I took Facebook clean off. It's like, I'm not even on that. Instagram is like, okay, most of the time you see me post, I'm posting my family or things we went to or some type of event, So now when I'm starting to look at it, it's like, okay, I see models, and now they just showing me booty models, and I'm like, asking my wife, like, okay, all right, I knew this one girl, knew the other girl, and okay, I'm seeing booty pics now, and it's like, why am I saying about booty pics? I was like, I know I'm not clicking on booty pics, so it's like, why am I saying? It's like, well, what you stop at? And I said, I scroll through things.
You sure you're not picking on pics?
I'm definitely not.
Blame it on the algorithm.
Hello, blame it on right there. Look, so I'm scrolling through, and most of my friends, I just hit like, and I was like, yo, making sure. Listen, it's just like Facebook, because I had to learn that, and that's what I just hit like if you're doing something. So if you show yourself, I see you, and you're like, hey, me and my husband out on the town having a good time, I give you a like, because I was like, oh, I like you doing stuff. I like that. Like, so I'm just going down liking and seeing, oh man, look at them, they here. And other people like myself, when they're on vacation, they show me vacations or graduation pictures of their children, because I'm of that age now. So I'm like. And then, through the stuff, I see business stuff, because, always searching business and different perspective to learn some of the books that I might want to read. Anytime I get voices from the ancestors, I'm looking at Dr. Umar Johnson and, Dr. Smalls, and Al Smalls. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just looking at these stuff, and they might have a clip of Dr. Clark. And I'm like, all right, let me look at all this history type stuff. But then of me looking at, I just see a girl, like, just showing up, and I'm like, okay, I just like 20 of my friends' pics of them with their family graduation, like 10 of those ancestors where they just dropping jewels, like, the first Africans that was in Europe, the Moors. I'm listening at the whole joint, like, yo, where I can get the whole clip. And I'm looking at like, and then I get a booty pic, and then I'm sitting there like, so why I'm getting booty pics? I'm not liking booty pics, like, yeah, I'm friends with this person. Like, oh yeah, I'm friends with that girl. I'm friends with that girl. Right? Okay, a couple of these women are models, and like, watch this. Some of these people are models, but then I could say, and celebrity, and then I could look and say, well, I got Viola Davis as a friend. I got Taraji P. Henson as a friend. I got, these people as friend. I don't see their stuff as much. Why am I seeing all this?
Yeah, you get this.
And I'm not.
And true.
And it's not like I'm going for it. I'm just going through my joint, and I'm like, well, why are they putting this up? And I gotta go to somebody else's joint just to see what they say, because I'm like, I don't see it. And I couldn't understand.
And there's somebody back there like making, we're gonna send this over here, send this over here, send this over here. If you watch The Social Dilemma on Netflix, it talks about how they do that and how they kind of form the algorithms. The more you click and the more you do stuff, they send more stuff your way. How you think something, you be like, oh man, how did I get that? I just talked about business, and now I got an ad for a business.
But think about it. What you are saying. My wife said what you're picking, and I said, okay, let's say last week, one girl that I saw, I liked her pick. All right, she might be a baby.
She got a heavy feed. Maybe the heavy feed will bring more.
She's on vacation or something, and I see like, oh my God, she's in Tulum. Oh man, like the pick. But then I like J.Tanae, my other friend. I like all 8 picks or whatever. Then, I'm looking at the historical stuff, like the pick. Some of the athletes, I'm seeing crossovers, backcourt, mixtape, and ESPN rivals, and high school upcoming. Right. And I'm liking those. But then I'm seeing booty pick. And I was like, okay, a week ago, I like one person that was, in front of a beach, like they were on vacation. what justifies like these, and like, you know,
They
these
even
10
judge it
booty.
on the seconds that you spend looking at something. It's like that with analytics. You know what I mean? Your view, you could be like 5 seconds. You know what I mean? Hey, we're going to keep sitting and maybe we'll get another 5 seconds or another 10 seconds to make you tap. You know, it's a whole, you know what I mean? Even if you're not tapping on it, it's the view. You're looking at it for a period of time because it tells you, even with, you know, our Zooms and our things, it tells you how long the person viewed the video.
Yes.
They ain't even got to click on. They just turn to it. Oh, they watched it for 1 minute and 30 seconds.
You know who?
And then
who I watch the most? That I'm like, it's the funniest things ever to me is the voiceovers by like some of these comedians when they voice over
like the little
animals,
bits that happen,
like the little animals.
The
like,
monkey,
you know,
one was funny. It was a monkey one.
Give me these little snacks, the little tittle vittles. Give me another. I like the raccoon one. The raccoon with the cats.
Those are funny.
He was like this. Oh man, you gotta try to eat with the water. You gotta dip him in. He's over there voicing over the raccoon with the guy. He's like, oh man, I gotta get out of here. Spike, man, praise Jesus. You know, and ate and ran. So like for me, if I seen a whole bunch of that, I'd be like, yeah, I deserve that. Because I'll be looking at those comedian ones.
I don't know.
Anyone comedian, like
it's
Big
dangerous.
Josh. Big Josh is hilarious to me. Big Josh, his skits. And I think
your
he should
privacy. You got to watch your privacy, what you let on, what you allow look in your phone, what you allow on your laptops. You got to cut stuff off. I did something one day and it was like, oh, we've been tracking you for 5 days. And every single place I went on my phone, it had tracked me from state to state. That I didn't even know how to turn it on some kind of way, but it was tracking me the whole time.
Good. That's good. Lean did that.
You said Lean did it.
Lean did. Lean did. All right. So about to wrap it up. Let me ask you some questions. All right.
All right.
We you know, we had this or that, and we wasn't even able to do this or that today. But I'm gonna do this or that with you. Okay.
All right. Okay.
All right. Mm-hmm. Start with some easy ones, the hard ones. Janet Jackson or Mary J. Blige?
Mary J. Blige.
Beyonce or Alicia Keys?
Alicia Keys.
Nas.
And why? You know
why? No.
I can't say why.
No, I don't want the why.
Okay.
You chose. You chose.
Okay.
All right. Nas or Jay-Z?
Nas.
Okay.
Wait.
No. No. Okay, you can't say both. You can't say both. Okay. I'll say both. All right. Yeah. No explanations.
Because I don't want to. Let me tell you this real quick. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I wasn't finished. All right, cool. All right. Angela Bassett or Issa Rae?
Issa Bassett.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Denzel or Lawrence Fishburne?
But see, I can't. Denzel.
Okay. Kobe Bryant or LeBron James?
I'm not a sports person, but I just like Kobe.
Okay.
Because he just started.
Okay, wait.
I can't. You gotta give me that. Okay. All right.
Okay. Tiger Woods or Serena Williams?
No, Tiger Woods, because I like playing the golf game.
Okay, it's okay. Cool.
Yeah, cool. I like Tiger Woods golf.
Okay. Cats or dogs?
It's been a while, bro. Dogs. Cats are stupid.
Okay. Glasses or contacts?
Depends on how you want to look. Your vibe. You might have to do glasses.
Everybody always try to explain.
See, I got glasses and contacts.
No explanations. No explanations, man.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Langston Hughes or James Baldwin?
Love Langston Hughes. James Baldwin. Both. I can't choose.
Okay. All right. Malcolm X or Martin Luther King?
Martin Luther King.
Okay. Al Sharpton or Jesse Jackson?
Both. They have their place.
Okay. Kamala Harris or Michelle Obama?
Michelle Obama. I had her book too. I haven't quite finished reading it yet.
I know you want to explain. I was like, you explain at the end. You explain at the end. And do last but not least, okay. What would be one that I think you would really enjoy? Something. Oh, goodness gracious.
Oh no.
My girl, the Charleston, West Virginia chick, my football player from the University of West Virginia. Oh, I forget her name.
West Virginia University. Sierra Chick Kimbrough.
Kimbrough. Okay. Sierra Kimbrough or Randy Moss?
Oh man. Both.
Good job. All
West
right.
Virginia.
So, okay, cool. So now go explain. You can explain your picks now, because I was like, I know you want to explain some of them. I was trying to tell you, wait to the end. No, you can't stop.
I know, because then I forget my memory. I'll be forgetting stuff. Then I'll be forgot the two names you said, and it was just 2 minutes ago. That's what I do.
Because when I said the first one you would have stopped was Alicia Keys and Beyonce. I thought you were gonna say both, but you said Alicia Keys.
No, I could have said both, because I do like the entertainment of, like, Beyonce's an entertainer. I don't think she sings well. Like her voice is, I think it doesn't resonate with my soul. You know what I'm saying? I could maybe like 2 songs, like Love on Top, and maybe another song that I can really like, Drunk in Love, like a couple of songs I can really dig for her. I just think Alicia Keys got a little more soul.
Okay.
You know what I mean? She might not. I'm not a Beyonce fan. I like her work. I just don't think she has the greatest singing voice.
Okay, like say that, because she can't sing. I'm like, whoa. When I heard that, I was like,
it's just not anointed enough for me. Like, she don't give me the chills. Like, I need a Jasmine Sullivan, or not gospel, like Fantasia, Jasmine Sullivan. Even not.
They're gospel singers who went over to the other
Sullivan
side.
Is not.
She started in the gospel and she went over to the other side.
No, I just
it's like Yolanda Adams.
Want to touch me, change my world. Yes, I do know. You gotta change my world, and Beyonce doesn't change.
The sheer woman, yeah, like yes, I got.
And they got a controversy with that, with the Church Girl song and Beyonce, but yeah.
All right, so
that's it. That's enough. I'm good. All right. Do I get to do you?
You can't, but that sounded weird. You gotta pause your husband now.
No,
sound right.
All right, I can't think of nothing.
All right, go ahead.
No, okay. All right.
You got to think on your feet now.
I know, I'm not good. You usually do this. Okay. Hamburgers or hot dog?
Hamburgers.
Caribbean or nope, I'm not gonna say that.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know where I was going with that one. Anyway.
Yeah, you get to be like American soul food and Caribbean. Caribbean. It used to be soul food, but
I'm not good. I can't do this. I can't do it. I'm not cut out for this. I gotta think it in advance and write it down. I can't do it. I'm not.
Usually we do it the guests, but like while they're speaking, I think of something that come because say something. So like when somebody says Miles Davis, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna ask them about something Miles pertaining Davis to it, like, or Branford Marsalis, or I might not even put Miles.
I got you.
Like somebody say they work with Joe, so I know at the time Joe, the artist, he was actually battling with Chico DeBarge. So before I used to say Joe or Chico DeBarge, like no. So now I say take Joe out of it, say Chico DeBarge or Avant. So somebody like okay. Like I didn't work with either.
Okay,
I worked with
like
Joe.
you said, like you said, if I say Rutgers University or I don't know, North Carolina A&T, you would say
A&T. See, but now watch this. So if I listen to you from what you said, you were thinking about going to Howard, you went to Marshall,
right.
Your chapter for your sorority was affiliated with West Virginia State University, and you went to Rutgers University for some time. So then I would say, like, to play on some things, I said, okay, would you rather go to, Howard or West Virginia University? Now,
so you do active listening.
I'm not. So I'm listening to what you said. So I will put those two together and see.
I wasn't thinking about it, and I probably would have jotted some stuff down, but off the top of my dome, I have to take some more lion's mane and get myself together.
Got you.
All right. Let's take us out of here. First time live on YouTube, guys. I think I want to do it again. It's fun. I want to do it again. I want to do it again.
Wait. Next time we might just do Instagram. We'll just be like, all right.
Oh, Instagram. It ain't gotta be YouTube. I just want to do the live. I do like the live. You just gotta be, ready to roll with it. But cool. We have some few people that kind of chimed in and was watching.
Okay.
I'll have to go back and see if any comments, on from Facebook or any of them and see how it goes. But I can still edit the video a little bit. But all righty then. So, take us out. Or take us out. Yes, you take us out.
I don't take out. I'll bring us in. But if you want to take us out, listen, you can find us anywhere. You can find us on KROSSBARZ.com or share us on Facebook, Instagram. Just make sure you give us a like. Make sure you subscribe. Absolutely. I'm your co-host, Big O. And right there we have who?
J.Tanae. Back to lead the building.
You are bugging. All right. I'm out of here because I got to do my work. I'll let you.